let's see, Panera Bread.
Girls first.
Girls first.
I keep teaching you, baby.
Sweetheart, please tell us your first impressions of our time at Panera Bread.
Well, the way that led to that, I was mad at you for doing something. I'm like, who do you think you are? So I emailed you. And that's kind of led to us talking more. And then that day, I found out a few months after that, or something like that, that he was trying to find a reason to message me and ask me to go grab a coffee. And a few days before that, he asked me, so how did you get here in America? And I'm like, oh, well, it's a long story. I'll tell it to you one of these days. So that day, I had a day off, a lot of time on my plate. So I wanted to email him and tell him my story, but I remember that he wanted to talk in person. So I emailed him, hey, do you want me to tell you a story? Something like that. I don't remember exactly how. But he messaged me back and said that that's great. You want to go to Panera Bread? Sure. So we went, and that was awesome, actually. We talked for about 5 hours. Probably 4 of them I talked, telling him my story. Well, not really, but I'm just exaggerating now. But yeah. And we walked around the mall for a long time, and we had a lot of fun and laughed, and I felt comfortable, and I really liked this guy.
She did.
That's my first impression of you. And he was wearing red shoes.
I knew I knew the red shoes would be important someday when I bought those. Yeah, Panera Bread, I didn't know that she was, I didn't know that we were kind of settling the score on something, but I was definitely interested in hanging out with her. She's right about that, and so when I got that message to hang out, I was thrilled. And the first person I told was my mom, and then she, promptly made sure that I had something nice to wear to my, that we weren't calling a date, but it was my time to hang out with the pretty girl. So she helped me prepare for that, and then we talked for a long time, and I got to hear all about her coming to America and being what motivated her to come from Romania, and that was a cool experience. I learned a lot about actually her faith in that experience, which was always something kind of important to me. She at one point wanted to go home after being here for a couple years, and had actually purchased a ticket to go home, a one-way ticket back. But as that day, what she told me is that as that day got closer, the feeling that God wanted her to stay in America just kept growing until about a week or so out from her flight. She just decided, no, I don't know why, but I know God wants me to stay here. So she knew that if she went home to Romania, she probably wouldn't come back, and so she stayed.
Had a better plan for me.
Yeah, which when she was telling me that story, I was crossing my fingers that was the case. Yes,
reason why
I would love to be this better plan that God has for her. So I was pretty hooked on her right away. But I was amazed at just the way her faith guided such a monumental decision, and I admired that, and I was excited about it, to find somebody who I put a lot of thought into my own faith and how God guides me in my life, and so finding somebody who shared that was huge. And it was just a really courageous sounding story of how she came. And also I thought she was just absolutely gorgeous, and I was like, this is working out okay. Yeah. So that all worked for me. And Panera Bread was fun. We did walk around for about 5 hours, and at one point we were hanging out on the parking garage, just chattering because our feet were getting sore, and the mall security told us we couldn't hang out there. So we just kept walking. We walked around the mall about 3 times and just kind of kept going. So, yeah. And we both walked away from it going, that was fun. I didn't mind talking to that person for 5 hours.
And you shaked my hand. I'm like...
When?
You gave me a hug when I first came in, and then when I left, you gave me a shake hand. I'm like, what? So then you just kind of gave me a hug. So.
I had to test the waters. I had to see what you would do. If you initiate a hug, then we're okay. If I initiate a hug and you're like, well, then how do I can't recover from that. So I let her step it up, and she did. So that was good. So.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was Panera Bread.
Well, shortly after we met, Adriana, she had her birthday. She turned. Should I say how old you?
18.
I don't know if that makes the story better that I'm marrying an 18-year-old.
26. Okay, I'm
So
old.
on her birthday, it was about 3 or 4 weeks at that point that we'd kind of been hanging out, seeing each other. People had started to notice, and she was always clarifying to them that we're just friends, and and that's really all we were at the point. And I was a friend with high hopes. Then on her birthday, I was kind of hoping to make a bit of a statement on that day to send the message that I think you're a really, really good friend.
You're a really close friend.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had all these plans, like I was going to get her like a corsage, maybe we'd do dinner at the Space Needle, and in just the way plans were going, they were always being amended the entire time, so nothing was really working, and she didn't seem to have much of an expectation, but we were going to hang out that night in Seattle, and we just kind of were winging it, and she told me just as I was leaving my house, oh, bring your camera. I don't know if we'd talked about or had taken pictures yet, but I don't
think so.
Yeah, we both are pretty snap happy. And so I brought all my cameras, so we each had one, and we were going to go to the aquarium, and we got there just in time for them to tell us that it was closing and that we couldn't go in, and so we just ended up having a photo shoot along the Seattle waterfront.
Which was
for a while.
fun.
Yeah, it was really good. Actually, this was a huge moment for me because after taking so many pictures professionally, people are very critical of the photos you take of them, and you will take a photo that appears very nice, and they will, I don't like that photo. So that's it's kind of a defeating moment when that happens, and I'm used to it to a certain extent with girls wanting to make sure that they look nice, and I was going through and I saw a picture, I was like, oh, I'll delete that one, and she like stopped me and said, don't delete my pictures, and I didn't understand, and she's like,
it doesn't matter if it's a bad picture of me, it's my picture, leave it there.
And I was completely shocked. I was, who are you that you? What kind of woman are you that you don't want me to delete bad pictures? I don't care. I'll keep you. So I was thrilled. I thought I'd never met a girl who didn't want me to delete bad pictures, but this was an okay thing. So we did a photo shoot down most of Seattle waterfront, and she had just as much fun taking pictures as... Actually, she probably had more fun running around saying, this is cute, take my picture here. And so she just wanted to be a little model all over the place. And that was fine with me. We had a pretty good time. So we did that for... Again, quite a few hours, but she's sometimes I call her my refrigerator because she's always cold. My fingers are never ever warm, and we were getting a little more cozy at that point. You were letting me
warm on my hand.
I would hold her hand sort of like that. Which, if you notice, fingers not interlocked. I'm apparently just keeping the fingers warm, which apparently does not equate intimacy. So at one point I was like, well, let's see how we're doing here. And I took it up a notch and I just laced up the fingers, and she looked over at me and said,
this is weird.
Yes, she did. And then she took her hand away, and I thought, all right, mission failed.
We're just friends. We're not holding hands.
Yeah, apparently we were still just friends, even though so that wasn't quite going as planned yet. But she was still hanging out with me. We were still having fun. So I thought, well, I'm kind of getting what I want one way or another, so I can hold out. If she doesn't want to hold hands, that's fine. But it was a pretty good day. And what were your impressions? That was
That's
mine.
pretty much. Well, the thing is, this was the 6th birthday away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was home, all I wanted to do is have my birthday with my friends and having fun and whatever. This year, all I wanted is just be home with my family, do nothing, just hang out with them. And I was unhappy, and I wasn't happy it's my birthday. I was just depressed, and yeah. So Rebecca, she took us out for lunch. That was really sweet of her, but it's still kind of like, I feel kind of uncomfortable, and I'm not happy anyways. And then you say you want to hang out, and I'm like, well, can get worse, so
that was my hope.
Yeah, so we went, and that was like, it totally changed my day. I had a lot of fun, and I was happy, and it just turned out to be an awesome birthday. So yeah, my birthday was when I started to really like you.
That was a good day.
Yeah.
That was a solid day.